Welcome. If this is your first time here, we're honored you found us. And if you've been walking this road with us already, welcome back. This space isn't for everyone, but if you're searching for what's real, you may have just found home. Would you sacrifice everything for truth? Not your version of it, not what feels true when it benefits you, not what keeps your world intact. I mean the kind of truth that breaks the ground beneath you. The kind that doesn't knock, it invades. It tears through illusions you've called identity. It sets fire to comfort and leaves you standing naked with nothing to cling to. You want that kind of truth? Then be ready to lose. Because truth is not cheap. It does not flatter. It does not wait for your convenience. It comes when it's ready, and it comes to collect. It will demand that you trade applause for silence, trade being understood for being alone, trade your certainty for a wilderness. And yet, you will still go looking for it, because somewhere deep in your soul, you already know that everything built on a lie was never really yours. You see, this world rewards the numb, not the awake. It feeds those who can fake joy. It celebrates those who stay shallow. But the ones who ask real questions, the ones who dig beneath the surface, the ones who stop pretending, they lose things. They're mocked. They're stripped of belonging. They are crucified in quiet ways. And yet, they are the only ones who live, the ones who refuse to be sedated, the ones who choose reality over reputation, the ones who would rather be broken by truth than comforted by illusion. You don't find truth. Truth finds you when your ego is too tired to fight back, when your lies no longer hold, when silence becomes unbearable, and yet you stay in it. Most people run at that point. They reach for noise, for screens, for distraction. They rebuild the cage and call it peace. But some don't. Some stay. Some let the silence speak. Some let everything they thought was true collapse, not because they hate their life, but because they finally see that their life was never built on truth to begin with. If you stay long enough, if you refuse to reach for the familiar, if you let yourself die in that quiet, you will not come back the same. Because truth doesn't comfort you. It confronts you. It shows you how much of your life was borrowed, how much of your faith was inherited, not lived, how much of your love was conditional, how much of your strength was just survival. It reveals how loud your life has been, and how little of it was actually your voice. It takes your trophies and shows you they were plastic. It takes your plans and asks, who made these for you? It takes your prayers and holds them against your actions, then waits in silence while you stutter. And then, it does something worse. It gives you a choice. Stay asleep, or wake up and lose the world. Not just metaphorically, literally. The friends, the family, the rhythms, the identity, all of it. Because truth doesn't just demand a shift in thinking, it demands a shift in being. It won't let you lie to yourself anymore. It won't let you say, I'm fine, when you're breaking. It won't let you chase applause when your soul is starving. And if you try to go back, if you try to pretend you never saw it, you'll feel it every time you're silent. Every time you smile when you want to scream. Every time you say yes when your soul is screaming no. This is why most people never make it through awakening. Not because they didn't hear the truth, but because they didn't want to lose the life they built without it. But what is the value of a life built on delusion? What is the price of keeping what isn't real? If you could have truth, raw, holy, terrifying, and pure, but it would cost you everything, would you still say yes? Would you still call it freedom if it left you with nothing but your soul? And silence? Everyone claims they want the truth, until it threatens what they love. We say, I just want what's real, but we forget that real things come with real consequences. The truth doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care how long you've believed the lie. It doesn't feel bad about interrupting your comfort. It doesn't whisper when it should roar. Truth has no PR team. It doesn't campaign for acceptance. It doesn't dress itself up to make you stay. Truth just is. And once it reveals itself, you cannot go back to pretending. You can try, you can fake it for a while, but something in you will remain restless. Something in you will mourn what you once called ignorance. Because now you know, now your eyes have adjusted to the light. Now the silence speaks louder than the noise ever could. And here's the dangerous part. Truth doesn't always come with proof. It won't hand you evidence. It won't lay out its logic to convince your intellect. Sometimes, it comes like a whisper in the night and dares you to believe it anyway. Sometimes, it comes through loss, through breakdown, through rejection, through that one moment when everything you believed falls apart in your hands, and you either curse the collapse or you call it an invitation. This is where most people walk away. They feel the shaking. They feel the unraveling. They feel the friction between what they believed and what is now being revealed. And instead of leaning in, they run. They cling to tradition, to culture, to what's familiar, even if it's false. Because the truth asks for something we were never taught how to give. Ourselves. Not the version we post, not the version we think people will like, but the raw, unfiltered soul underneath it all. And when truth asks for that, your first instinct will be to protect yourself. But something deeper, something older, will beg you to surrender. There comes a moment in the pursuit of truth when you realize it's not about information anymore. It's about identity. Because the truth doesn't just ask what you believe. It asks, who are you without the lie? Without the role you've played, without the story you keep telling yourself, without the masks you've worn for so long, you forgot there was a face beneath them. And that moment, when you finally come face to face with your unedited self, is terrifying. Because for the first time, you see how much of your life was spent avoiding that exact encounter. You were taught how to succeed, how to impress, how to rise, but no one taught you how to be real, how to sit with your shadow, how to look your fear in the eye and not blink. And so we dress it up. We hide our truth behind ambition, behind filters, titles, smiles, and scripture. We baptize our egos and call it growth. But truth doesn't care about how polished you are. It doesn't negotiate with your image. It will find you in the dark, when your strength has collapsed, when your words have failed, when your cleverness runs out. That's where truth waits, not in your victories, but in your undoing. It's not a spotlight, it's a mirror. And it won't show you what you want to see. It will show you what you've avoided. The brokenness you've spiritualized, the lies you've labeled as wisdom, the voices you silenced in yourself just to keep the peace. And once you see it, you can't go back to sleep. You might still attend the same meetings, you might still wear the same clothes, but something in you has shifted. Something ancient in you has opened its eyes. And no lie, no comfort, no distraction can blind it again. That's the cost of real truth. It wakes you up, then asks you to live like you can't unsee. You see, most people don't consciously reject the truth. They just quietly trade it for survival. They learn how to smile when their soul is grieving. They learn how to nod when their spirit is screaming. They build lives that look stable, but only if you don't look too closely. Because if you did, you'd see the cracks. You'd see the emptiness behind the applause, the ache behind the theology, the loneliness behind the success. We're not always running from truth out of rebellion. Sometimes we run because we're tired. We run because we've been told our questions make us dangerous. We run because every time we spoke up, we were silenced. And eventually, we stopped speaking. But silence doesn't equal peace, and stillness isn't always surrender. Sometimes silence is what happens when the truth is louder than your voice, but no one around you can bear to hear it. And so you shrink. You play along. You memorize the script. You show up. You smile. You say all the right words, and you die a little more each day, because pretending is spiritual suffocation. And some of you feel it right now. That invisible hand around your throat every time you hide what you really think. Every time you nod to keep the peace. Every time you betray your own voice just to stay inside the circle. But truth doesn't live in circles. It lives in the margins. It lives in the caves. It lives with those who have nothing left to protect. And that's where you will have to go. Not because it's heroic, but because your soul won't survive the performance anymore. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. And maybe that's what the truth was waiting for all along. Truth will not beg you to follow. It will not raise its voice above the noise. It speaks once, then waits. It does not chase. It does not flatter. It does not compromise to keep you interested. It just waits, in the silence, in the ache, in the moment you realize that everything you built without it is crumbling. And when that moment comes, you will have a choice. Return to the lie, or keep walking into the unknown. The lie is easier. It's predictable. It's warm, even if it's hollow. But the truth, it's cold at first, unfamiliar, stripped of decoration. There's no crowd, no safety net, just you and what is real. And here's what they don't tell you. Sometimes truth will isolate you, not because it wants to punish you, but because the space around you was too crowded with illusion to hold what's pure. Sometimes you have to lose the room to find your voice. You have to disappoint expectations to obey conviction. You have to let go of being liked to hold on to what's real. Because there is a kind of truth that only reveals itself after the crowd walks away. And some of you are there now. You've outgrown the performance. You've tasted the truth. And now nothing else satisfies. You're not crazy. You're not too much. You're not broken. You're waking up. And waking up isn't clean. It's not cinematic. It's brutal. It's slow. It's lonely. But it's sacred. Because it is in that loneliness, in that silence, in that unlit space, that truth begins to speak again. So now we're here. No more theories. No more safe language. Just the silence between your soul and the truth. It's no longer a question of what you know. It's a question of what you're willing to lose. Because truth does not coexist with illusion. It doesn't share space with convenience. It demands everything you built to protect yourself be laid on the altar. And most will walk away. Not because they're evil, but because they're not ready. They still need the approval. Still need the comfort. Still need the illusion of control. But you who have tasted the real, you will never again be satisfied with what's false. You will try to go back. You may even succeed for a while, but something in you will remain restless. Something in you will feel the ache of the real pulling at the edges of your life. And when it does, you'll remember this moment, this quiet invitation, the one where truth didn't shout, didn't threaten, didn't sell itself to you. It simply asked, would you sacrifice everything? For me, not because it wants to see you suffer, but because it knows you can't carry the eternal while clinging to what is temporary. This isn't about being right. It's not about having answers. It's not about becoming a philosopher or a prophet. It's about being honest. So deeply honest that even your lies know they're no longer welcome. It's about remembering that before the world gave you a name, a culture, a doctrine, a role, you were something pure, and that truth has been calling you back ever since. So now, stand still, strip down, let the false fall away, and when there is nothing left to protect, Listen, because in that sacred silence, you may finally hear what the truth has been whispering all along. You were never made for comfort. You were made for clarity. And the moment you say yes, truly yes, the world you once knew will collapse. But in its place, something real will rise.